Yo, everybody, I'm back on a Friday morning. All right, we're gonna get rolling here, god damn it. And it's gonna be a fun show. I think it's gonna be really, really, really fun. So, I'm gonna try and get this lighting working so you guys can actually see my lovely face. And yeah, this is it. Cherry Friday's back. There we go.
Such a shame how time flies. Captain Kangaroo. Well, you know, life's full of circumstances and chances that we'll never take. Well, I guess I could have taken them chances, but every time I do, they end up a big mistake.
Oh, good God here, folks. Oh, does it feel good to be back? Does it feel good to hear Toastios? Does it feel good to be up 3 hours earlier than I normally am? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the California debut of Jury Friday. Oh, Christ. Oh, mother of pearl. I'm so glad to be here. I'm so glad to be doing this. I'm so glad to be back. It's normally where I talk about what kind of K-Cup I'm drinking, but it's a very plain flavor. Real quick story. So I'm moving, and I put 90% of everything I own in my car. I moved my car, and I'll, all right, here, I'll lead into it with this. So I'm really bad at packing, and I'm really bad at like knowing exactly what I had and what needed to get thrown out. Here's my advice. Here's what I learned. There's no amount of money that I would regret paying somebody to move me in 24 hours. If I ever move again, and I don't die here in this room in Oakland, California, if I ever move again, or when I ever move again, I want to have 24 hours notice, and I'm just going to pay whatever. I'm just going to hire somebody to be like, listen, I don't care what you charge me. It's fine. Do it all now, and I don't want to deal with it. It's the worst thing in the world. So I load all this stuff in my car. The car goes out about a week before I leave. What I don't put in my car is my coffee machine, because I use the coffee machine every goddamn day, and it's it's just something I needed. It's a necessary thing. So my bags were just filled with the most random crap ever. I had like 80 K-cups, a Keurig machine, the whale meat that somebody sent me from Japan, which is illegal. I had a scale, a Tommy gun for Nerf pellets. It was just an absolute mess. And TSA searched it, and I was really excited. Like, it was the first time I'd ever been excited about the possibility of TSA going through all of my stuff. I just wanted them to go through it and just be like, well, I don't think I had seen that before. Didn't see that one coming. Okay, so let's talk really quick about moving. So for those of you who are just joining me, normally, Jury Friday is a live stream that happens. It is still happening at 10 a.m. on the East Coast, but I used to live in Florida. I used to live in Tamarack, Florida, which is South Florida, a suburb of the lovely city of Fort Lauderdale, recently 100 years old. I moved out here to go work at a lovely company called The Go Game, and they're fantastic. We'll talk more about them a little bit later. But I had to move across the country, and it was a really interesting experience, and I won't share all of them because all the stories are pretty mundane, but there was one pretty funny one. So the car that I sent out here gets driven out over the course of about a week and a half, and I'm in California. I'm starting my new job. I'm trying to get everything all together, and all of a sudden, I kind of, have to, as soon as I get off the plane, I got to realize, what am I going to do about this car? When is the car going to get there? How am I going to rely on it? When am I going to unload all the crap out of it? Just a lot of logistical questions. So I'm told that my car is going to get there the day after I come. So I call them. And this is a local company out of Miami. And by and large, they were pretty good. This is just sticking the landing was kind of an issue for them. So I call them and I'm like, hey, when's my car going to get here? And they're like, oh, he's in Sacramento. So he'll probably be in sometime later this afternoon. Okay, cool. Call him back later that afternoon. I don't hear from him. Yeah, he's probably going to be there the next day. And I'm like, okay, well, here's the problem, because I got more work the next day. I can't be there. I work in San Francisco. I live in Oakland. I mean, can you drop it off in San Francisco, or do I need to come back to Oakland? And they just have no idea, what's going on. So it comes down to Friday, the next day. Wednesday I get back. I call them. Thursday they want to deliver it. Friday is the last day. So I call them early in the morning, like 6 o'clock in the morning, West Coast time, because that's 9 o'clock there. And I assume business is open. And all of a sudden, they're like, well, we have no idea where he is. He's not answering his phone. He could be there Monday. He could be there Sunday. We have no idea. Call us back later. So the day goes by, and the one thing that I'm trying to get used to is a lot of things, like I'm keeping my computer on East Coast time because for the writing, for the blogging, I want to keep writing for an East Coast audience because that's where the majority of people are. 50% of America lives on the East Coast. So you have to keep writing for them because that's where, if you're writing for an American audience, you should be writing for an East Coast audience. That's just, the name of the game. And I don't want to be, like Mr. East Coast Pies, now that I live on the West Coast, just bitching about bagels. I can't get a good bagel. Ugh, over here. Try to get a pastrami sandwich in this town. You just can't. It's impossible. I'm not going to be Mr. East Coast, but that's just the reality, okay? If you want to think about it as a numbers game, that's just what you need to do. It's not the point. So I called him back at it's about 1 o'clock, so it's like 4 o'clock there, and I'm like, listen, if I don't talk to these people, I'm going to have no contact with them. I'm not going to have a car over the weekend, okay? So I call them. And they're like, okay, well, he's probably not going to be there until Saturday, but he will be there Saturday. I'm like, fine. Okay, here's the deal. You guys are not going to be in the office in an hour. Can I get this dude's number so I can talk to him? I can communicate with him. He can call me. I can call him. We'll figure it out together. Fine. And now she has a bit of a Hispanic accent herself. Again, I believe this is a company. It's local in Miami. At least I was calling a Miami number throughout this entire process. And she's like, sure. His name is Villamar. I'm like, what? Villamar? What? Okay. It sounds to me like she's saying Bill Maher. Villamar? Bill Maher? Villamar? Like, politically incorrect with Bill Maher? Villamar? Herring? Heroin? Villamar? So I have no idea what his name is, but I write down his number, and I just know that Villamar, and it's like I don't know what to call him. Like I don't know if I call him up, and I'm gonna be like, the only thing that I can think of is that I have to say it in her voice. Villamar? Hi, this is Justin Young. I have a 2007 Toyota Matrix that's coming to Oakland, California. Is this Villamar? So I'm hanging out with Brett that night, Friday night. Just a couple of bros sitting in the apartment, Tom Merritt's apartment. I think that's what I'll call this. Live from the Tom Merritt Studios. I think this might have actually been the room that he used to record podcasts in. It would make sense. So, Villamar? Definition, please. Villamar? The guy who's driving your car to Oakland. Villamar? Can you use it in a sentence? Villamar is driving from Florida to Oakland, California to drop off a 2007 Toyota Matrix. So we're just hanging out, and next thing you know, it's like 12:30 at night, and I get a call from Villamar. And he's like, and he has an even thicker accent than the lady on the phone. She's like, you there? I'm like, yeah. Okay. So, in this quiet Oakland neighborhood, off the coast of Lake Merritt. I guess it is a coast. It's a lake. So, obviously a lake has boundaries. It doesn't go on forever because we don't live in Lake World, people. We live in a dry land society. He rolls up, and this is like 12:30 at night. Neighbors are coming out. It's a loud truck. It is a car carrier. This is like where you fleet of cars go across the country on this thing. And then there's my silly Toyota Matrix sitting up there. And he gets it off. Everything's great. Everything was still in there. It was all packed fine. Nothing broken. I can't, it was a little bit of a logistical issue for them to get the car there. That's fine. Listen, I'm not the most expensive thing on that carrier. And to be honest, it all worked out for the best. So everything's wrapping up. I'm signing off on the last thing, and I say to him, hey, buddy, what's your name? And he goes, very, very complicated. And I'm like, it's Villamar? Villamar? Is it Villamar? And he's like, yes. I'm like, how are you supposed to say that? It's complicated to say. And I'm like, is it like Bill Maher? And he blank stare. I mean, I might have started talking to him about Bib Fortuna. Is it like Bib Fortuna? Like the guy in Star Wars, Jabba's palace. He has the thing going around. He has no idea who the hell I'm talking about. So I'm like, what does it start with? A V. Yes. So it is Villamar. I had never heard that. I didn't know that was the name. But now you know. Villamar is Villamar. I guess white people can't say it. It just is one of those things where you can only have Hispanic friends because white people will just like, hello, Villamar. I was talking to my friend the other day, Villamar, and he's a real trip. He's just a great guy. So I'm in here. I moved in here, and I don't want to make this all about moving stories. Those are fairly boring. But let's get on to some other stuff that happened this week. I'm going to talk a lot more about politics because a lot has happened politically, and I think that Obama, something I thought would never happen in this presidential race has happened, and that Obama is effing up. Like, I don't know what the hell's happening. I don't know how a dude who ran the 2008 campaign could be running the campaign that he's running now. I'll talk way more about that after the break. I do want to talk about something that I found really delightful. And, I don't know, I'm sure everybody, if you are a Democrat-leaning person, then you probably don't like conservative talk radio. In the same way that conservatives don't like liberal blogging sites. I kind of think that they're, in a lot of ways, they operate two sides of the coin. Like, you're not going to have a conservative be like, man, I love the Huffington Post. And you're not going to have liberals say, like, man, I love Rush Limbaugh. I mean, I don't know. It's fine. Teach your own. But the one thing that I really, really enjoy, and I enjoy it because of his persona as this, of course, El Rushbo, the big, boliviating, super conceited kind of personality that he has on his show. That Rush Limbaugh is the biggest Apple fanboy. Let me just say this. He's probably the Apple fanboy with the biggest microphone that isn't Tim Cook or, back when he was still alive, Steve Jobs. When this dude talks about Apple, a lot of people listen just by the amount of people that listen to his radio show anyway, and he will hijack it for segments, just doing nothing but tech talk about Apple. And it delights me to no end whenever somebody sends me a link or I find a link or something about Rush Limbaugh ranting and raving about Apple products. And he did it this week. He did this whole two segments. It's like, you gotta understand, for the majority of his audience, he's taking his audience and he weaves it back to politics at the end of this thing because he's very good at his job. But he takes an entire segment and just bitches about how the Mac Pros didn't get Thunderbolt, which is insane, right? Like, that's a topic that Tom Merritt, who does a very well listened to tech show, would want to rein in. Like, be like, listen, let's not get too bogged down in the minutia of whether or not the Mac Pro stack has Thunderbolt. Let's mention it, let's curtail it, and let's move on to the other announcements from WWDC. This dude does a solid, 10 minutes bitching about, folks, I really would like the Thunderbolt on my Mac Tower. And they're not going to do it. And they're very secret. And he's bitching about, Facebook petitions. He's like, well, there was over 160,000 signatures to this Facebook petition. And Apple won't tell us whether or not they're going to come out, even though they have no competition in this area. It is such a fanboy, an angry fanboy rant. And it got me thinking about creative people in general. That there are things you do. I guess there's a false idea that creative people have the thing they do and then the thing they love. And I don't think that's true. I don't think that you should be striving for that at the very least. I don't think that you should be striving to do a thing and then to be doing another thing that you like, because that implies that the thing you do for money or the thing that pays the bills isn't something that you like. And I think that should be the case. At least I think you should strive for it. I mean, it might not always be the case, but you should kind of want to do that. I think the dichotomy should be you should do what you like and then just do other things you like. And sometimes they make money and sometimes they don't. But I think every creative person has it. And every creative person has the thing that they would like to be or they kind of are secretly sort of practicing for. And, you know, I know that's what this is for me. For me, I like talking about politics and stuff like that because I read a lot about politics. So I wanted something where, like, I could talk about a lot of things and politics could be one of them. And this isn't going to make me any money, Jury Friday. But I like talking with you guys. I like having these conversations. I like getting this stuff off my chest. I like kind of playing the role of commentator. You know, even though I do certain stuff for NSFW, but I can't do this. I can't do a solid extended rant about, you know, how much I like when Rush Limbaugh talks about MacBook, you know, or Mac Pro towers and plugs Facebook petitions like he's a 14-year-old. I can't do that. So I say, yeah, just do the thing you like and then do other things you like. Just that simple. Just keep doing things you like and you know, we don't have to draw these lines. One of the lines that I do want to draw, though, is the future of this show. Thank you, everybody who has continued to bug me about doing this show. I just got the internet in, so that's why I'm doing this today, and I haven't done it the last couple of weeks. Before we were stealing internet, it was very unreliable. It would have been a crappy show. So I want to do a good show, but I've kind of made a decision on what the future of this show is going to be. Many moons ago, we talked about doing another podcast called Teal Deer. It was going to be a TLDR podcast, basically a too long did not read podcast where I would go through the most interesting top stories of the week that you probably didn't read. And I'd talk about them. And I wanted to incorporate what I'm doing here with that and kind of come up with a podcast. So here's what I think is going to happen. Here's what I'd like to happen. You know what? Let's eliminate the ifs and ands and buts. Here's what I want to happen. I think the key to this is community. I think it's you guys, everybody who wants to get up at 10 a.m. and has watched me kind of cut my teeth on doing this sort of one mic show. I want you guys, if you would like, I'm not telling you guys. Let's say I'm talking. We're having a conversation. Let's start a subreddit. Let's start a Teal Deer subreddit. And you guys can just find the coolest stories. And they can be big stories that you really like, you know. They could be small stories that maybe people missed, but were really interesting. Long-form articles. Let's vote them up. I'll take the top 5 stories from there. And basically it's going to be like this. I'm going to do 3 stories on Jury Friday. I'll record them here. There'll be 1 mic stories where I will talk about what the story was about, give a point of view on it. And then the other 2 I'll record throughout the week, but they're not, I don't want to do necessarily like interviews with people I don't know. I just kind of want to call people I know and just talk about them like I would talk about them on the phone. And so that's what it's going to be. That's going to be Teal Deer. And then I'll edit that together over the weekend. So like 75% of the show will be live on Jury Friday. We'll continue to do Jury Friday. This is when I will talk about these things. But that's what Jury Friday is going to kind of morph into, with maybe a few other things scattered here and there. And then I'll also talk to, you know, the Bryans, Andrews, Toms, Eileen's, you know, of the world, about the other stuff that is going on, depending on, you know, who I want to talk to about. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be a fun time. So that's Teal Deer. And I would like for that to happen. But this is like one of those things like Game On, where, you know, I miss the Game On subreddit, and I know the Game On subreddit's still there, and there are people that still write like the system update and everything, and like that's amazing, that's awesome. But like, I would love to have kind of like just a general news subreddit, and I would love to see if you guys would be interested in helping me out with that. Apparently, it already exists. Chimera96, reddit.com/tealdeer, and there we go. So we're rocking and rolling. We're going to play a song. I'm going to be back. When we come back, we're going to talk about all this cool stuff that is happening this weekend, including the movie draft update. I'm going to talk about politics, and then, we're going to wrap it up after that. But first, let's go ahead and get a song on. This is They Might Be Giants, We Want to Rock. Wait for it.
Where was I forgot the point that I was making. I said if I was smart that I would save up for a piece of string and a rock to wind string around. Everybody wants a rock to wind a piece of string around. Everybody wants a rock to wind a piece of string around. Throw the crib door wide, let the people crawl inside. Someone in this town is trying to burn the playhouse down. They want to stop the ones who want a rock to wind a string around. But everybody wants a rock to wind a piece of string around. Throw the crib door wide, let the people crawl inside. Someone in this town is trying to burn the playhouse down. They want to stop the ones who want a rock to wind a string around. But everybody wants a rock to wind a piece of string around. If I were a carpenter, I'd hammer on my piglet. I'd collect the $7 and I'd buy a big prosthetic forehead and wear it on my real head. Everybody wants prosthetic foreheads on their real heads. Everybody wants prosthetic foreheads on their real heads. Throw the crib door wide, let the people crawl inside. Someone in this town is trying to burn the playhouse down. They want to stop the ones who want prosthetic foreheads on their heads. But everybody wants prosthetic foreheads on their real heads. Throw the crib door wide, let the people crawl inside. Someone in this town is trying to burn the foreheads down. They want to stop the ones who want a rock to wind a string around. But everybody wants a rock to wind a piece of string around.
That's They Might Be Giants with We Want to Rock. All right, let's talk a little bit about what is there for you in the world of things that I've done. Because really, this show is in large part a showcase for the fact that I do a billion different things, and the one common binding thread is me. Like, I just do a billion different, completely disparate projects, and if you dig me or you dig the things that I do, I like to tell you about them, so that way you'll know that they exist. Here's one thing that actually does not involve me, ironically. Mondays, we recorded on Monday. Remember, Weird Things Live, we record the podcast live now every Monday at about 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And this week I was actually indisposed with Go Game stuff, so we had the amazing and awesome Paul Zach sit in for me, and god damn it was depressing listening to it while I was editing, because he's really, really smart, and he was really funny, and it just, oh god, they could put the cow thing in my head like in No Country for Old Men and just throw me off the side of a building. If they had Paul Zak, god damn it, he's just awesome. And he's like an actual brilliant scientist. He's not a bloviating tard like me, where I just look at things and I think I know about them, and I say, well, I don't know. You know, the problem with President Obama is, and it's like, who am I? This guy's actually doing research. He figured out like why societies are built because of oxytocin. He wrote a book that's like out in bookstores now, The Moral Molecule. He's a brilliant scientist. He's super amazing. Go download the podcast, weirdthings.com. Also, there's a new Andrew Main Stories. I know we haven't had an Andrew Main Stories for a little bit since I moved out to California. New Andrew Main Stories is coming out right after I'm done with this. I'm going to, I recorded it last night. I'm going to put Andrew's things on it, edit it, post it up. So you can get that on iTunes or andrewmainbooks.com. And let me just say this about that story. It's fucking legit. It's so awesome. It's like, this is the first time I ever read one of Andrew's short stories and like I wanted to quote a line from it. In the same way that like I like to quote stuff from like Kurt Vonnegut stories or something like that. There's a line at the end that I quoted on Twitter last night. Here's how bad I wanted to quote it. I actually goddamn quoted it on Twitter. It's so good. It's called LXD. That's the short story. It'll be out later after I do this. I'm going to edit it and I'm going to put it up. Let's get into the summer movie draft and also the steak side bets. Sarah is on the board this week. She's the only person without a movie releasing. That ends today as Rock of Ages comes out along with Scott's That's My Boy. They both got savaged by the critics. 42% for Rock of Ages, 20% for That's My Boy. That means more for Rock of Ages than it does for That's My Boy, because critics kind of hate Adam Sandler, and I'll give you in a second the reason why critics really hate this movie in particular without having seen it. But first, Rock of Ages. It's a musical. I don't know. I really just don't get who the target audience is on this, because in my mind, the big people that would, go and see this is Glee fans, and I just don't know how much Glee fans give a fuck about hair metal. I guess they probably know the songs, but is it like, that's like it's a nostalgia trip, and it's like, hey, like, let me, for the Glee fandom, is young. They're like 12 to 16. So it's like, hey, are they nostalgic for the time that their moms were bar sluts, at the Whiskey A Go-Go, blowing the bass player of Poison? Like, is that an era for which they pine? They kind of wish they lived in? I don't know. I don't think so. So it means more that that's getting the shit kicked out of it than That's My Boy. Here's why I think critics are predisposed to savage That's My Boy. If you notice in all the ads, none of the ads have any kind of, they all have reviews, but they're all Twitter reviews. Professional criticism might be a part of it, might be dead. It used to be that, you would always see, like, it would mean something, and I still think it will to a certain extent, but you would see, this Roger Ebert gives it 2 thumbs up, or Siskel and Ebert. You would just give it a thumbs up. Now, because of social media, and because you can just go and do a screening and then say, hey, everybody, instead of don't talk about it, everybody tweet about it. Because you just got something for free. It's a comedy. Everyone's probably going to laugh. And there's going to be like, OMG, man, that shit was hilarious. That was awesome. I loved it when Adam Sandler was like, oh, don't drink that beer because the beer was really pee. That was awesome. Like, people are just going to like it. You just gave them a free movie. They're predisposed to like it. And if you say, hey, we're going to be monitoring your tweets, and you might be part of the ad campaign, then they're way more likely to be like, this is the best movie I ever seen. And I've seen a billion movies. I'll list them now. Ben-Hur, Spartacus, Gone with the Wind, Hannah and Her Sisters. That would be a really boring Twitter account if he then just listed every movie he's ever seen. But I think critics see that, and they're like, oh, hell no. This is bullshit. Because it's going to make it seem in the ads like everybody loves this movie, and so the critics are like, fuck that. I kind of hated the movie, and now I'm really going to shit on it. I'm going to take a major squat on this film because you're trying to end around me. You're trying to make me obsolete. Trying to make me obsolete? I'll make you obsolete in words. That's my boy. More like, that's my trite script that I've written 14 times. Adam Sandler. P.U. That's my film critic impression. So we'll see. In terms of the movie league, it doesn't really mean a whole lot. I mean, like, if That's My Boy was a breakout hit, then it would kind of give Scott a little bit more relevancy. Sarah could really use a big hit from Rock of Ages because she's the only person that I think could take down Tom. And there's a storm coming, Mr. Wayne. And that's really what she's relying on is Dark Knight. Now, I make stake bets. High stakes are happening. And we will we'll go over another one in just a second, the one I have about politics. But the one I have about movies is as forward. Brian bought a lot of June movies in this draft, and he bought Dark Shadows, The Dictator, Battleship, and Men in Black 3. I made a bet with him that they would all combined be under $350 million. That was a really good bet. My problem with that bet was that I had him, I extended it pretty much forever. So, like, I said it by when Dark Knight Rises comes out, which is in a month, which is fairly ridiculous. It was a really dumb idea. So I'm probably going to wind up buying Brian a steak. But as of now, hope springs eternal if everybody removes all of the theaters for Dark Shadows, Dictator, Battleship, and Men in Black 3. I could be doing okay. It's right now at $331 million. So I just need nobody go see any of these movies. Let's just stop. It's just like no whammy, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy. Stop. If that happened, I'd get a steak. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to go over 350 just because I was a fucking idiot and had too much time for this to happen. But I called that all three of these were going to underwhelm, and two of them totally fucking bombed. I mean, The Dictator, for a comedy, it's not horrifying that it made $56 million, but Battleship, whoo, you sunk my domestic returns is more like it. I'm the film critic. Yeah, that's $60 million. That's a horrifying figure for that. And then, MIB3, it's $140 million, and that's okay. I think they wanted MIB3 to do a little bit more than that, but we'll see. I have another stake bet, though. And folks might remember this. I made a stake bet with, I believe it was Brian, and with Massaworm, whose new trailer I actually haven't watched yet, but apparently his the trailer for the movie that he did, this is C. Robert Cargill, debuted. It's a movie called Sinister, so I'm going to check it out. But I made a bet with them about politics. I bet that President Obama would lose. And I made this bet because I really didn't like the cut of his jib. I didn't like how I didn't like how his campaign was being run, and I thought it was going to be a problem, but I didn't predict it was going to be this kind of a problem. I think let me say it like this. And I'm going to ask the chat room. Because I think the majority of the chat room would like to see Obama reelected. Because I think, that of the people that listen to this podcast or other stuff I do, probably the majority of them are liberal or, are Democratic voters, some more loudly than others. But let me ask you, are you worried and do you have faith? Two different questions. Are you worried about how this campaign is going? And do you have faith that it will right itself? So there is a current thing, and then there is a future question. And I'll tell you why I would be worried. Now, I'm not a huge Obama guy. Like I said, I thought just in the horse race of it that he would not win, largely because of unemployment. Can't have this kind of high unemployment and get reelected. It's hard to do. It's very, very hard to do. But let me see. Okay, so two questions. Are you worried? Do you have faith that he will? And if you are worried, do you have faith that he will? That he will right the ship? So I just need two answers. Yes, I'm worried, or no, I'm worried. And yes, I think that he will right the ship, or no, I think that there's a problem here. Here's why I think I would answer, yes, I'm worried, and I don't think he will. He's making fundamental problems, or fundamental mistakes. And here's the biggest. Narrative. You hear a lot in politics about narrative. Here's what narrative means. That no matter what, everything you do is kind of variations on a theme. Everything is, you have a main message, and then it's like blank that has something to do with the main message. Obama doesn't have a narrative going forward. He's got reasons why things happened. He's got justifications for actions, but he doesn't have a narrative going forward as to what will happen on day one of his second term. That's a problem because his opponent has a narrative. This guy sucks, get him out, and I will do better with the economy. It's just that simple. Now, at the end of the day, whether or not you agree with that, you have to agree that one is clearer than the other, because it is. And it's, he comes out yesterday and does a reset speech, and it's not, it doesn't work. It goes on way too long. It has a 52-minute speech that, kind of just touches on stuff that happened before. And here's the biggest problem. The press turned against him. You had a lot of columnists that have, by and large, been very favorable to him that are now looking at this campaign saying, what the hell's going on, man? Like, we like you. We want you to be reelected, but, what are you doing, bro? I don't know. 52 minutes? What the fuck? It's like an independent film. Dana Milbank went after him. A dude who wrote a book about him on MSNBC went after him. When a dude who wrote a book about you on MSNBC is saying that's the worst speech you've ever given, that might be the worst motherfucking speech you've ever given. That's who you're playing to. That's like Romney coming out and getting hammered on Fox News after he won the primary. Because before he won the primary, he was getting hammered on Fox News. But that's your home court. That's where you want to be doing really, really well. And he's not. And I think it's worrisome. And he just kind of keeps having, since I moved out and we weren't doing the podcast, if you just count week by week who won the week, he hasn't won a week in a very, very long time. I don't think he's won a week since the primaries ended. I think when the primaries were going on, you could definitely say he won a few weeks just because you got other people. You got fucking lunatics like Santorum and, Newt Gingrich is barking about, I want to go to the moon. We're going to go to the moon on gas. That's going to cost 5 cents. I'm Newt Gingrich. And, you know, so you can say Romney can't beat those people. Obama's winning. All right, I get that. But lately, yeah, the Wisconsin thing, that's not good. It's not good. And here's the thing. And this, I want to know this from everybody watching. Is a troubling narrative that he's not controlling that I think is kind of bubbled up, and no one's really talked about it. You have this gay marriage thing in North Carolina. Now, obviously, with healthcare and a lot of other stuff, Obama is in favor, and I think most liberals are, in favor of federal government affecting things on a state level, making decisions for things that are right, that are moral imperatives. So this North Carolina thing happens, and they're taking a vote, and it's kind of kept a local issue. Obama doesn't come out and campaign for it down there. He doesn't talk about it. The DNC isn't spending money on ads down there to try and sway the vote, to make a sympathetic case for their cause. It gets trounced. Gay marriage ban is there. Everybody hemming and hawing. And 2 days later, Obama comes out and, you know, says, I've changed my opinion on gay marriage. Now, for me, I'm like, why didn't you say that before? Why didn't you say that before this whole thing happened? So maybe people would be like, oh, crap. Well, the president thinks it. Maybe I should rethink what my point of view is. Because I think that's the point of being the president, right? Is like you can speak to people. You are a communicator. So if you do it after the fact, it just kind of seems like, all right. I think he got away with that. But then this Wisconsin thing happened. And the Scott Walker recall election was very important to a lot of liberals. I think, you know, to a lot of Democrats. It was an important kind of thing. It was a close election. It was closer. The polls were tracking closer than, let's say, the gay marriage debate. So, you know, and he doesn't do anything. Again. In fact, he's like persuaded, according to the stuff after the fact, he's persuaded to tweet about it the night of the election. Not exactly, you know, bringing out your big guns. And I think, and then after the fact, he talks about the Wisconsin recall election and talks about how important, you know, labor, you know, how important, you know, it is to have stronger, you know, unions for government employees, and how there are people that we need more government employees, that we need more firemen and policemen and teachers and stuff like that. But, you know, it's I think that's troubling. I think, and I'd be curious to see if it's troubling to you guys, because you guys are probably far more likely to vote for Obama than I am. But like, I think that that's a problem. I think that you can't do that. You can't say the solution for problems are on the federal level and then not provide your solutions for important issues and then talk about them. Because at the end of the day, I think even if people don't say it, they think, well, why didn't you do? I mean, if you're going to talk about gay marriage, and like, you can do, you're the fucking president. You can go out and change things. You can talk about things. You can make a sympathetic cause. You can pitch this in a way that other people aren't, with a gravitas that nobody else has. And I'm not saying he's a socialist. You know, I'm just saying that, and because Republicans have things that they think should be solved on a federal level, you know. But that is his perspective. So, I don't know. And now, after the recall election, now, according to Rasmussen, he's losing Wisconsin. You got a lot of these states that are kind of going into play, which is a problem for Obama because he's getting outraised fundraising-wise, which is something that was not a reality at the beginning of this election. And politically, if you can start challenging in states that your opponent didn't think were going to be tight races, it's a problem, especially when you have a fundraising disadvantage, because you have to start spending money in those states you weren't budgeting to spend money in. Which is why, like, he's doing all these Hollywood fundraisers, because he hasn't been able to raise as much money from the Wall Street community, which was like a big Clinton money base. So now he's got to go to Sarah Jessica Parker. Say, hi, Sarah Jessica. Would you like to please raise money for me? I would like to have money. I would like to beat Mitt Romney. This is the shittiest Obama impression ever. I think I can do an okay Obama impression, but I would rather do this one. Hi, I'm President Obama. I would like to talk to you about labor unions. I think they're great. So there we go. I think I'm looking good in my stake bet that for the Romney win. Now, real quick, I want to take this time out. Rabbit Badger said Obama is keeping his powder dry until after August when people start giving a shit. He's been letting Romney preach to the choir until he runs out of things to say. 2 points on that. Number one, that's a horrifying strategy because you need, if that's true, you need a base of people now to organize and keep your message going and keep voter registration going now. Voter registration is a massive issue. And that doesn't happen in August. That happens today. That happens 2 months ago. That happens for the next 3 months. You go from neighborhood to neighborhood in districts that are going to matter a lot come November, and you get people registered to vote. And you need people to be excited about your candidacy to do that. Number two, Romney isn't saying a lot of things. He's saying one thing. And that one thing, if that becomes, over and over and over, Obama's the reason the economy sucks. Obama's the reason the economy sucks. Obama's the reason the economy sucks. The more you say that, the more people believe it, the more you are losing the narrative. And that is death. Absolute death. Especially when you're going to have a big embarrassment with the Supreme Court thing that's coming up, which God knows why they wanted to do it this summer. Instead of pushing it back until after the election, you have the Supreme Court thing coming up, and you have Europe completely going into chaos. It's going to be nothing but a big fat naked slip and slide party for an economy over there, and it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be really ugly. Imagine an 80-year-old naked slip and slide party. Ugh. Ugh. That's what's happening in Europe. An 80-year-old naked slip and slide party. That's how ugly. That's how ugly this is going to be. The lemon slip and slide. It's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be nuts. And you can't have that going on and kind of, and then like that's happening and have Romney be saying, this is the reason. Obama's policies would do that to America. Obama's policies would do that to America. Obama's policies would do that to America. So Romney's not going to run out of things to say because he's only going to say one thing. That's it. So there we go. For people who don't know, the Supreme Court thing is the healthcare issue. They're going to lose on healthcare in the Supreme Court. That's just gonna, by all indications, that's what's gonna happen. Whether or not they're gonna, lose all of it or they're gonna lose the individual mandate part, they're gonna lose a part of it. And that's about it. All right. Well, you want to know what? That's gonna pretty much wrap it up for Jury Friday. I want to kind of save my voice because I got to do a thing for the Go game, so I'm not gonna do rapid fire. But I do want to thank everybody for stopping by and helping me, get back into the swing of things. Again, the Teal Deer subreddit, reddit.com/tealdeer. I want to do that next week. I wanna rock and roll with that next week, and it's gonna be super fun. So go ahead and just throughout the week, if you have cool stories that you want to talk about, then head on over there and post them there. Vote them up. We'll pick 5 of them. I might actually just go straight chalk. I might just go whatever the top 5 of the weeks. The top 5 things of the week. We'll see. I mean, we'll see how it goes, and if people want to do it. This doesn't happen unless you guys are there. So it's me and you. That's picture us rolling. All right. That about wraps it up for Jury Friday. My name is Justin Robert Young, at Justin R. Young on Twitter. Until next week, ladies and germs, please don't die. All right, ladies and germs, I'm going to edit this Andrew thing, and then I'll get that up. Check that out, andrewmainbooks.com. Until next time, I love you.